this agreement between South Africa and China. Yes, there's investment. Yes, there's money. Yes, there's technology. But of course, we know, you and I have been doing this a long time. We know after the summit concludes tonight, we're going to start getting those opposing voices saying, once again, too much reliance on China, not using South Africans to do the job and to gain more knowledge and expertise. That's going to be the criticism of this.
That's right, Gareth. So we are seeing that continues to be a big talking point amongst the different delegates and stakeholders that are attending the summit, and what comes after we create a balanced trading environment between China, which, by the way, is the biggest trading partner amongst the BRICS countries and will probably remain that way should we see an expansion. But I want to get into a discussion with Yunfei Zhao. He's a CGTN Beijing senior business correspondent joining us in our little makeshift studio today. Thank you for joining us this morning, Yunfei.
Thank you for having me, Rofhiwa.
Let's start with the importance of the summit, creating a global south and reducing the reliance on the global west, which has been a huge part of the discussions this week.
Certainly, you just mentioned about the balanced investment between China and South Africa. I think one of the outcomes that we are highly anticipating from this year's summit, especially the state visit of President Xi Jinping, is that we probably will be able to see more investment from South Africa to China to create more balance in this perspective. You mentioned about the global south. As more countries have shown interest to join the block of emerging economies. I mean, 40 countries show their interest, 23 official requests. I think this is very significant. This is say something. Reflects a very high demand of a reform of global governance, which is currently dominated by the West.
Yeah. Let's speak about another issue that we have in South Africa, which is an energy crisis, something China was able to get itself out of using different initiatives. How important will China's contribution be to assisting South Africa with the energy crisis? Because ultimately we will need energy to create products and goods that we are able to export into China's economy.
My understanding at this moment is that China has already sent one batch of equipment that support South Africa's energy crisis, and also there's coming way along the way, I think it goes by shipping, other batch of equipment that is supporting the energy issue over here. But I think the other day the Deputy Director of the African Affairs of Chinese Foreign Ministry says that he believes that the issue of energy crisis should be resolved by South African people themselves. I mean, this is something he said that he has confidence that South Africa will be able to resolve the issue, and then it's up to the South Africans to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult task indeed, as we've seen over the last few years. Let's focus a little bit on China's economy. A bit of a downturn over the last 3 years with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russian invasion, a number of issues that the globe is facing at the moment. Tell us a little bit about the situation at the moment, but also government's plans to stimulate the economy. We did see that the key prime lending rate was cut earlier in the week, but that's just one way to try and stimulate the economy.
I think it's quite normal to have a slowdown of the economy. This is a general issue, but if you look at the inflation in the United States, that's even worse. So given this current situation, I mean, China is trying its best to control the economic situation domestically, and so at this moment, luckily we are entering the post-pandemic era, so a lot of things have been resuming, and China has been taking out measures to help its people to maybe boost their consumption, and it's also many different perspectives. So gradually we'll be able to see there's a resumption of economy, and also given the BRICS summit situation over here, I think this is a mechanism that can provide opportunities for all the membership countries, as well as those countries who are interested in joining the the group. I think such idea of inclusiveness will be able to bring in more opportunities among the members.
Yeah, and with that, it comes at a time that the United States, a couple of weeks ago, President Joe Biden creating restrictions on U.S. companies investing in Chinese tech companies. I mean, what does that mean for the tech space in China?
I think it reminds me to consider one of the biggest agenda of this summit, which is de-dollarization, because a lot of people would think about that because dollars nowadays are giving weapons to given sanctions, especially given the crisis in Russia and Ukraine. So certainly the member states would like to seek an alternative to replace that, and that says something because this giving sanctions, this is something really posed, dangerous. It's a dangerous mentality that poses, dangerous situation to the global economy.
Yeah, and finally, let's just flesh out that de-dollarization that has been also spoken about extensively over the last few days. The opportunities to create an alternative currencies, making things more affordable. Tell us a little bit about those opportunities. Should we see it come to fruition?
I think the very original idea came from President Lula, and he has been repeatedly saying that it doesn't make sense for the relevant countries trading with each other with the U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
So I think it absolutely it's kind of a common sense given the fact of that. If we figure out a mechanism to trade with each other with a currency that is with not a fixed currency, I think that will provide more opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time and for giving us further insights into what's happening in China's economy, but also the different relations between the 5 countries and what an expansion would mean, not just for South Africa or China, but for everybody involved. Gareth Edwards.